Welcome, everybody, to the BKBK podcast, where sports and the culture collide and the New York Jets reign supreme. I'm your host, Brandon Phillips, joined by my fellow co-hosts, Kerry Taylor, Brian Taylor, and Kyle McKenna. I just want to start off today's episode by letting everyone know that we just launched our podcast on Facebook Live 2 weeks ago on Sunday, February 4th, 2018, with no heads up, no notice to anyone. And we have well over 1,000 views and a few hundred follows already, all right? So
1K.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, let's give yourselves a round of applause here, guys.
1K all day.
Golf clap.
Yes, sir. Yeah, man. So I just want to thank the entire BKBK team. Also want to thank Summit 68. And, we just want to just keep this going and keep building from here on out. So just thank you. And most of all, thank you to all the viewers that keep supporting us. Thank you very, very much. And, I never knew life as a Jet fan could potentially be so good. Yeah, right.
Famous last words.
Yeah. All right, so speaking of being Jets fans and the life of Jet fans, I want to start off by just introducing ourselves to you guys, the viewers, the audience, and everything, and let you all know our individual stories of how we actually became long-suffering Jet fans ourselves. So, Captain Kyle McKenna, why don't you start off with your own story of how you became a Jets fan?
Well, I mean, first of all, I got to blame my father fully and completely for giving me this burden, I would say. My father has been a Jets fan going back all the way since inception, and a season ticket holder for a really long time. He actually passed the season tickets on to me, which I don't have anymore. But I had for, a good 20 years on my own. Took me to my first game, Shea Stadium.
Nice.
It was a different time, different deal with that. You had the baseball cutout in the middle.
Yeah.
Like you see in Oakland.
The diamond.
He used to pop the car over the he used to jump over the curb on the Grand Central so that he could slide in so that he could not have to go through the parking.
What car was he driving?
It was a Volkswagen van, like a camper.
Yeah, funny.
And he'd say, "All right, you got to get into the emergency the seated position, curl up. Just I'm going for it." Yeah, and we would go to the games. I think the first time he took me to a game was maybe '84. And explained to me what a first down was, and because I didn't have any clue of what that meant. I'm looking at the scoreboard, and I'm like, why do those numbers keep changing? But I didn't understand any of it. But I watched him go crazy over the Mud Bowl in '82.
Right.
We were in Florida, and they were playing the Dolphins. Went crazy with that. So I kind of had that hereditary Jet fandom, but it took another level when I went to Joe Namath camp up in Connecticut. And funny story about that is the reason I went to Joe Namath camp in the first place is because I got in a fight in junior high.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Us, 3 out of 4 of us went to the same junior high school. We were, classmates.
Yes.
Who did you fight?
I don't remember exactly who it was that I fought with because we got in a lot of. If you guys remember, there was a lot of fights in that junior high.
Yeah, there were.
And there was 2 cafeterias. You were either in one or the other.
Yeah.
I think somebody said something. Either I said something to somebody or they said it to me, and we started fighting. And then I got put in solitary confinement.
Wow.
And lunch suspension for a month.
Who was the dean again back then? Mr. White or something like that, or
Mr. Weiss, I think.
Weiss. Yeah. He was tough too.
Yeah, he was the assistant principal, but the Miss Middleton, the math teacher, she was the person that covered the lunch suspension, and it was this room off of the Commons that had no windows in it. It just had a door, and they made me eat lunch in there for a month straight. I don't know what happened to the other kid. I might have started the fight. I don't know. Maybe it was all my fault. But
it's possible.
Teenage angst. Yeah. So the only person I had to talk to was Miss Middleton. And
she was cool, though.
She was very cool. And she told me how her son had gone to Joe Namath camp. And he played for the Baldwin Bombers and stuff like that. And said, "Oh, this camp is great. You should check it out."
Yeah.
Took it home to my parents and told them about it. My dad being a Jet fan, sent me up there in '86. It was 86 going into 87.
Okay.
And the camp just ended this past month. They said they weren't going to do it again this year.
This past month.
A month ago, they sent out an email saying that they weren't going to do it anymore. But I've been involved with the camp for 26 years at this point.
Joe Namath's camp. Oh,
and
my goodness. Yeah.
and getting to know Joe Namath and actually talk to him every year and have dialogue.
Did you say Joe Namath?
Yeah, the guy whose jersey you have on right there.
Check it out. Let's go. Wait, let's see that again, B. Yeah,
12,
there you
baby.
go. Yeah, the 12.
Wow.
There you go.
one time I would say about 15, 16 years ago, Joe says to me, and we all know I'm bald now, but I used to have hair. He goes,
Yeah.
"Oh, I like your hair this year," and then walks away. And I'm thinking to myself, does that mean he noticed what my hair looked like last year, and he noticed that there was a change or
Not
something
like
that?
it last year?
I'm like, I didn't even know this dude knew my name or whatever. But
Yeah,
over the years, as I've gone from being a player to a college football player to a coach, he's a real down to earth guy, and his family's really nice. And
Now-
John Dockery, who does the camp with
John
him,
Dockery. Yeah.
that's the other guy in the picture up
So,
there.
I have a question. So, for people who are like, oh, this guy, he's heavy worded. He didn't go to any Joe Namath football camp.
Heavy-worded.
Yeah,
Not heavy.
and
Not wordsy. Heavy wordy.
Yeah, heavy worded, right? Yeah. Wordsworth. There's no such thing. Do you have any evidence that you were even at anything called the Joe Namath football camp?
Well, we have an asset that we can share with you.
I want to see it.
It's up we can put that up on the board, Mr. Producer.
All right.
There you go.
He's wearing Mickey Schuler's number 82.
And that is exactly why I wore 82. I wore 82 because Mickey Schuler wore 82. Another Jet thing right there. That's John Dockery. And there we got Joe with John Dockery. Phil McConkey. The giant. That's that's the only bad thing about the picture. I'm just kidding.
Wait.
And then
Can we go back to the first one now?
Look at the neck roll.
that's 89. That's 90.
Can we?
We see the muscular development in 1
we
year.
peep
Just
out-
like the weight room.
All reverence, but can we
All
peep
boy.
out Joe is wearing his cap?
Yeah, that's-
'cause he's
High on the head.
Yeah, he's wearing a little high on the head.
You don't wanna
He's
mess
not
up his
used to
head.
wearing-
You don't wanna mess up his
That's what
head.
it is. He's gonna take it off and take other folks out.
He's got
I
a
just
semi-afro.
just noticed that, but go ahead.
well,
He didn't pick it out, though. He used the comb. He didn't know the magic touch.
John Dockery is as big a part of the camp as Joe Namath was, and he played on the Jets team, the Super Bowl team with Joe, and on the other pitcher, Winston Hill, who passed away a few years ago.
Yeah.
He's a really good guy. Knew him for a really long time too. I hope he goes to the Hall of Fame someday because
Lyman,
he played 18 years in the league.
Nice.
Played for the Jets and the Dolphins.
Offensive tackle. I think he made like 6 or 7 Pro Bowls, too.
He was a really good football player.
Yeah.
Like a prototypical left tackle before people really talked about left tackles as that guy.
And this guy's your favorite tight end ever, huh? Mickey Schuler?
Mickey Schuler was, the best.
Well, he should be.
Yeah.
And that's why I always get mad when I watch that Lawrence
Lawrence
Taylor
Taylor.
footage. They go, "Come on, Schuler." He kind of ragdolled him in that, but I mean, Mickey Schuler was not really known as for his blocking.
Yeah.
He was
No.
more of a
Catch and run,
pass catching type of.
Got the hands.
But that's where I really became a fan, and going to school in Boston and having to put up with the Patriot fan for 4 years.
whiz.
Some of my best friends Patriot fans, but
And the funny thing is, the
tough.
Patriots weren't talking all that nonsense back then. It's
Yeah.
like
No.
the banter was really between us and Miami back then. If you
Absolutely.
remember,
Yeah.
it was.
Yeah.
The Pats were like the Bills.
Yeah.
Like non-existent, really.
well, the Jets and
Didn't
the
have a winning
Dolphins
tradition.
used to have those like barn burner games where
Epic.
like 45-39.
Yeah.
Ken
yeah.
O'Brien.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, man, that's fantastic. So
That's my story.
That's your story. That's awesome. So let's move on to our next fellow host and Jets fan. Let me hear your story, B.
Yeah, that's right. So it's not going to be as long or elaborate as Kyle's was.
Or heavy worded, right?
Or heavy
I
worded.
love the heavy
Hey man,
words.
you give me the assignment, I do the assignment.
That's
Yes,
right.
sir.
That's right.
Right.
Not the wordsmith here
Consummate teacher.
with that.
Heavy worded.
But listen, as far as I can remember, I've been a Jets fan. So I was really thinking about it. I mean, we've had this question come up a couple of times, and I was thinking about the moment that it happened, and I can't have one moment that kind of happened. So for me, it was, as far as Ken O'Brien, Al Toon, Wesley Walker, Freeman McNeil, just going back, those were the folks that in the Miami games and stuff and all of that. I've been a fan ever since then. And when I was thinking about it, it's where we live is so close to Hofstra and where they practice, the Jets.
Yeah.
So Marty
Big part of
Lyons lived in the neighborhood.
He lived right
like blocks.
on our like my parents, like when we moved to the area, started to jump in, but we almost bought that house. And you know what? There was a girl that we grew up with. Her name was Michelle Marishaw. She ended up buying the house right after that.
Right.
And I remember that was the first celebrity I think I've ever seen in my life. and he came to the door when we went to visit and check out his house, shirt off and everything, jacked. And he had like a Doberman Pinscher in his yard. I mean, not in his yard, but in his house. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, wow. I was like, yeah, man, this boy big.
That's an Alabama football player.
Too?
Yeah, oh, you did?
Too,
Wow, yeah.
So, and it was crazy. So, from that perspective, just having the Jets in the neighborhood, did Gastineau live in the area somewhere too?
I don't know. I knew it was Marty Lyons because that was the house, Marty. But I'm sure a bunch of them lived.
So, listen, I mean, you had Sean Ellis and Abraham
lived
right
next
door.
To our parents' house.
Right? So,
got a story about that, but not suitable for television.
Well, quick story for me around that. I was like, man, I need to ask them because I know they live there. I'm like, I need to ask them to sign my, it's my jersey or whatever else. So I was like, I got up the nerve, went over there, knocked on the door, and then you see Sean Ellis come to the door. Now he's filling out the frame where you can't even see his head.
No shirt on,
it's
just
like, oh yeah, absolutely. It's just like this, and he's just the whole frame. And he's like, yeah, no problem. I signed it, and I get it. And then my mom washes the jersey.
Oh man!
So it's going forever. But listen, the experience to go over there and just seeing the folks and just been a Jets fan forever. Going with you guys to games and stuff. We unfortunately we dragged our families into it, and they're fans as well.
Yeah.
So they watch, and my daughter will be like, "Are we winning?" And I'm like, "No."
No.
Oh man.
Stop asking the question.
I feel bad,
Right.
My son's a Raider fan, so he has his own thing going on.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So that's my story.
My son doesn't even like football. I turned him off so much because I'd be in the basement in my little man cave, and all he kept hearing was this, "Gee whiz, Sanchez," and it was like just going out throughout the whole house. And my son is like, "Why are you supporting a team that doesn't win?"
Wow.
And then he's like, "No, I'm not going to be a Jets fan. As a matter of fact, I'm going to watch basketball and baseball. I'm not even going to watch football." And I was like,
right?
I ruined the kid.
Right.
Et tu, Brute?
Et tu, Brute. Oh, my gosh. So I just, these Jets, I don't know. Gee whiz. I still love them, though. Listen.
Sure.
I'll tell you, I have, it's like a romantic relationship I have with the Jets. Like, I love them, and I hate them at the same time. And it's because I fell in love too early. And, no, I did.
Wow.
You know what?
Like a girl you met in high school.
Exactly. You know when you're young and you have a girlfriend too early, and it's like, what are you doing? I had
back in high school they were decent. I mean, they were.
Right, because
she was cute, right?
Little green and white cutie, right?
Weird analogy.
Now people,
I know.
Now people have no idea why you're still holding on to that.
Oh my gosh, right? I know. So here's
bubble burst a long time ago.
Absolutely.
It's actually before high school, and here's the reason why I'm still, a tried and true Jet fan. Before I moved out to Long Island, right? I was 7 years old. I lived in Queens, 225th and Linden. I lived in Queens, right? And
is that Cambria?
Yeah, Cambria Heights. Yeah. So I lived in Queens, and then it was Christmas. And then I wake up Christmas morning, wearing my little robe and stuff, and then my parents got me a gift. And they got me the best gift I'd ever had before in my life. And I wake up, I go there, and I see a New York Jets bike. Mr. Producer, if you can pull that up. I think I'm still in my very Jamaican brown robe, too. Fire! Look at that. And look, that's even the sign is still on it there, too. It probably says to Brandon.
Wow.
And I'm wearing my Batman pajamas underneath it, my nice robe, and that says New York Jets #1. See the mag tires and everything? All the little accents, the little woo on it. Look at that, man.
I always picture that bike as like a Huffy, but that's like more of a legit BMX.
A lot of tread on
bike
those tires right there.
Thick.
So
it's thick.
So
thick.
listen, you look like Obi-Wan Kenobi. Can we say that? all day.
Yeah, that Dark Force got me. That Jets Dark Force, man. It got me. So the very next year, I move out to Long Island, Baldwin, right? I move out there, and I know I've said this before, but I'm going to say it again. Brian was one of the first people that I met, and another great friend of ours, Brian Blissett, who lived on the same block as me. Bliss One. And we became just super tight from day one. But before, the other kids in the neighborhood knew who I was because I used to ride this bike so much, they were like, "Oh, yeah, Brandon? Oh, Brandon. Oh, you mean the kid with the Jets bike?" It's like, yeah, that kid. So I was known as the kid with the Jets bike before people actually knew my name. So I loved this Jets bike. It got me kind of a little popular. Couldn't really do any tricks because it was like a tank.
Oh, absolutely.
But it was people knew me as that guy. I was identified by that bike. And then it was like, this bike is awesome. This whole vibe is awesome. So this whole Jets team must be awesome. So I have to be a Jets fan. And I'm loyal to a fault. I don't change. And it just stuck with me like glue. And, you know, I've just been with them ever since. And I think that Jets bike did it to me. So thanks, Mommy and Daddy. And I really appreciate that one.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah. And then my first Jets game, I went with my godfather and my other uncle. So Uncle Donnie, my godfather, and Uncle OG went with them. And they took me to my first Jet game. And that really solidified everything because I saw one of my favorite all-time players, Joe Klecko, really just get off in that game and throwing people all around. And I was like, yeah, this is it.
Should be Hall of Famer, Joe Klecko.
73,
he should be a
right?
Hall of Fame. Number 73.
Ooh.
Yeah. Like a brick tank over there, throwing people all around the place. Love Joe Klecko. And then just love my Jets, man. You know. Fell in love with Dennis Byrd, too, later on. Love Dennis Byrd. I thought he was going to be the next one. Yeah, love Dennis Byrd. Love Mo Lewis, too. All right, see, I'm in love already, so I'm going to try.
That's a lot of love.
Yeah, I'm going to give this one.
A lot of love to throwing some men.
Through the
some
years.
old men.
Right. Sheesh.
No, it's just the organization, man.
The organization.
Yeah. Look at that kid up there. Look at that kid.
Yeah, that's a big smile.
Obi.
Right
Yeah.
there.
That guy's very optimistic about the Jets in
Happier
their picture.
times. Happier times.
We're gonna win a Super Bowl
Right.
before I turn 20.
Yeah.
Didn't happen. Before
While
I
searching-
turned 40.
While searching
Didn't
for Darth
happen.
Vader.
Yeah, that's Obi. Look at
Obi-Wan Kenobi.
yeah.
out there.
Look at me now. I'm like I don't know, Darth Maul now. Like
Can't stand these guys. Can't stand these guys. Well, my story is a little bit, later on in life. I started out as a football player. Didn't start playing until like 7th grade. And when I did play, my number was 78. So I was a lineman, believe it or not.
Wow.
Right.
Yeah, you were
I was a
thick.
lineman,
You were
believe
thick
it.
back in the day.
You know, we talked about that, but we're not going to talk about that right now, man. I've been, I'm a slim dude with the perspective of a big dude's body, man. But my story is such that again, playing at a younger age, starting at a later age, I should say, in 7th grade, playing football for the first time, putting my hand in the ground, I didn't like it. So what I decided to do
What's
was
wrong with that?
lose some weight.
You didn't like
And
putting your hand in the
get
ground.
taller.
You liked football. You just didn't like the
I didn't
lineman
like
part.
right. I didn't like being in the trenches. So what happened was I continued to play, and I got taller and slimmer, and I love playing defense. So I converted to being a cornerback, and a black dude named Kerry. There weren't a lot of black dudes named Kerry playing football at that time. Right? Exactly. Or black dudes, period, named Kerry. So I saw on television.
Or
number
dudes
35.
named Kerry.
Right, exactly.
I didn't want to go there. I know how deep this goes.
Right, exactly.
Daggone, what's your middle name, Kerry? Gee whiz.
John.
Oh, all right, there you go.
All right.
Yeah.
John.
Look at the way he just looked at me. Yeah.
Right. So actually, funny story. A girl that was next to her locker was right next to mine. Her name was also Kerry, and so one day there was some balloons and flowers on my locker. They had decorated my locker, but it wasn't my birthday. It was Kerry's.
So you got
Birthday. Carrie Ann's birthday. Right.
They're
Got the
one off.
lockers
Wow.
mixed
Carrie
up.
Ann, okay.
I was like, really?
Wow.
Really? But, so I saw on television number 35 in a green and white jersey, and his name was Kerry Glenn. And so from that point forward, I became a Jet fan. I followed them along. These were the times when Wesley Walker was playing.
Yeah.
And I forgot who the other receiver was.
Altoon.
Altoon.
Yeah.
And Wesley Walker at the time was actually legally blind. And
That's right.
one of my teammates from Baldwin, Darren Harrison, who was
Darren.
one of the best players out of Baldwin at the time, who's also legally blind.
I didn't know that.
In one of his eyes. Yeah.
Really?
So that was, one of our bonds. And, my son is not a Jet fan. My son is not a fan of any of the players or teams that I espouse. But he is a Baldwin Bruin, and he plays plays for the Bruins on JV, both on the football team and on a basketball team as well. So the tradition is being carried on as we speak right now.
Basketball season's almost over too, right?
Basketball season is over for the JV. The JV ended up 18-1.
Ooh, yeah,
nice.
They're beasts out there, man.
Yeah.
That's
The varsity ended up, I think, having 1 or 2 losses. One loss, I think, was in conference, and that's it.
They still have a freshman team at Baldwin?
No. Most of the schools don't have freshman teams anymore because of the budget.
When we played, when we were in Baldwin, we had freshman basketball the first year. I don't know. And
We had
freshman
football.
We had freshman football the first
yeah.
year too.
Me and B played on the freshman football team together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How many
yeah.
people total were on that team though? Like 20?
Enough to mount a full squad.
Well, there was enough that they brought like me and Eugene and Rich up,
Yeah,
and there was
yeah,
still
yeah.
enough for you guys.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Had Larry Brown out there running the rock.
Matt Fells was running the rock.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of guys that stopped playing football after that year though.
Yeah.
Like I think Jim Quaranta played football too.
Yeah, he did. He
Um,
did.
Guys that became lacrosse players.
Yeah. Guys that became lacrosse players or just whatever, listening to Jane's Addiction or something. I don't know.
Yeah. There's a lot of football players that did that too. Maybe one day we'll have the conversation about how John Bonafide got everybody into the Smiths
Yeah,
on the football
he
team.
did. He did.
Like a whole bunch of people that
He
were
did.
listening to
He did.
like you know all hip hop all the time, and then all of a sudden he introduces them to Morrissey and the Smiths.
Yeah.
And
Eugene took that and ran with it. He loved
Oh,
it.
absolutely.
He used to put on the voice like that.
singing all the songs too.
Kind of
Yeah,
hot though.
Yeah, man.
It wasn't bad. It was
we
the
were
locker room,
we were a
baby.
diverse
Yeah.
locker room.
That's the
yeah,
locker room.
diverse and unique, man.
You know, the one song that every time I hear it, I think about our locker room after a win.
What's that?
Was roller skates, De La Soul roller skates. We would play that song after a win, and 5 days.
5 days of work. One more day to play.
Yeah, we would play that every time.
Everybody. Yeah.
Saturday, right?
Yeah, Saturday.
Saturday. Yep.
Yeah.
I get like very, very, very HD memories when
Yeah,
I hear
yeah.
that.
And we played our games on Saturdays too. You get
Yeah.
that win, forget it. You want to go like this.
Absolutely.
Hey, we going to DDA's house? No, we're going to Messler's. All right. After the parade though.
Yeah,
You know?
we parade. That's a whole nother thing. Nobody, anybody that's not from Baldwin circa 91, 92 doesn't know about
Right.
And we
the
created
parade.
We created
so
that.
dangerous.
It was.
Apparently,
absolutely.
we should have gotten in trouble for that.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
yeah. But it was so great, and it was so like good natured. Like we'd go out there.
Wholesome.
and It
Yeah.
was wholesome, man, and it was just I don't know, man. It was kind of.
It was wholesome until we started going into other people's houses from the other teams. That,
and
then
egging their houses.
No,
I'm not
I'm
not gonna say.
I never did that.
I don't know what you're talking
That
about.
was not me.
Yeah,
Not at all.
yeah.
Yeah, that must have been
yeah.
after my time or before. Actually, it was after my
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
There's a big difference between the city and growing up on Long Island. Like the city football teams, it's like everybody is in Brooklyn, and and people live in different neighborhoods and play on different teams. It's not that like we were from Baldwin. It was
Yeah.
about Baldwin and
It was about
Freeport,
Yeah, yeah.
those schools.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah, but we didn't egg anybody. Okay, so here.
Kevin Smith commenting on the parading was awesome.
Yeah.
Kevin Smith was
Smitty.
his car was one of the cars we paraded with.
Yeah,
for
man.
sure.
Yeah.
What up,
man.
Smitty?
You know it.
Yeah, man. I used to rock with Smitty playing next to me. Yeah, man. Love it. All right, guys. So moving on. So we just want to let the audience and all you viewers kind of get to know us a little bit, get to know our experience and why we just fell in love with the Jets. Even if you guys don't like the Jets, but who cares? All right.
or the Bruins, because we're still gonna love the Bruins.
Yeah, we're
no
definitely
matter
gonna
what.
love Hey, listen, we're about to do this hit Sting chant right now.
We don't have to
even
explain
play
how we
with us.
became Bruins fans.
Yeah.
We live that.
Yep.
All
Baldwin
about that
pride.
Bruin life.
There
About
you
that
go.
Baldwin life.
Baldwin pride. Somebody say hit Sting. Somebody say hit Sting.
Hit Sting.
Ball whistle.
Wow.
Yeah, how about that?
That's all.
Yeah. I'm not.
Makes me think that we're doing like the conditioning stations and
Ooh,
can't
yeah.
break it
Up,
down
down,
every
up,
now
down,
and
Oh
then.
my
down,
goodness.
down.
Kind of want to hear Rich Simonetti's voice.
All day.
Yeah, I kind of want to hear his voice. Yeah. Come on, guys, come on. I loved it. No, he had a great football voice,
you
man.
fired up.
He used to get us fired up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Before we move on, can I just say one thing? And, I still think out of all my years of watching football, the best running back that I've seen in person, not on TV, but like in person, play the game, I think it's still Eugene Colbreth. That's for another podcast.
Sure.
But I used to watch the dude cut on people when they were behind him. It was weird.
Yeah.
Like,
The vision was 360.
it was crazy, and he
Yeah.
had this jitter. I don't know, man. He was
Shout out, huge.
huge. So he was.
He
the
was
best.
in the Eric Dickerson mold, tall,
Yeah.
like skinny running back.
Yeah. He would, yeah. And then, remember, do you guys remember all the names that we had? Like Slug and
Slug was
Mossy.
Was Mossy.
Mike Eel was Squid. That's kind of a hot name.
That's hot.
Slippery Squid.
Yeah.
And just all that stuff, man. It was just magical, man. I really loved our time there. So, but anyway, guys, that nostalgia hit me pretty hard. So, so guys, we're gonna get down to business here, okay? We're talking about the Jets. We're talking about. We really unpacked the whole quarterback situation last time.
Yep.
And let's move on. Let's move on to the free agents. Free agency for the New York Jets for 2018. What should we do? Where should we go? Let's talk about our top 3 free agent players that we individually think would fit this team and is most important to our team development. Who wants to take this one first?
I mean, I'll go first, but I can't stop at 3. So let's just start there, right? So my conversation, and I'll run down some of my top folks. So we had a conversation earlier, Jarvis Landry, right? That
Hot.
At wide receiver, arguably the best playmaker.
Is this like in order, or are you just putting out your top 3, no order?
So I would say if I had my druthers, who would be at the top of the list, and then we'll kind of run down some others. So yeah.
Brothers, run down some
others. So Jarvis Landry, what he could do for the wide receiving core, adding him in the middle there. Somebody on third down you could throw the ball to, safety valve. He's got sticky hands. He's a playmaker. 100 catches last 2 or 3 seasons. So he's definitely somebody out there that I would go after. Ezekiel Ansah. Listen, we need pressure.
Yeah.
Last 4 years, 8 sacks in 13, 7.5 in 14, 14.5 in 15, 2 in 16, but had a good season. So it wasn't really reflective, of where it was. And then 12 sacks last year in a down season for him. And somebody who's, I believe he's 28 at this point, probably be 29 by the time he signs the contract. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I'm a little concerned about that, but I think he can get pressure, and we need pressure from the edges.
He's got those BYU years on him too. I think they have to do 2 extra years as some sort of community service or theological service.
Mission. Okay. They got to do the mission.
Yes, exactly. So he may not have as much football wear and tear, which I'm willing to, take a year off that, even though he's 28 or 29.
Right. He also didn't play a lot of football before he was at NYU. I think he went to NYU, tried out for basketball.
Right. BYU.
Just BYU, yeah. Did I say NYU?
Yeah.
NYU football team.
They stink.
They're undefeated. They haven't had a game in a really long time.
Exactly.
But yeah, he's definitely doesn't have a lot of tread on the tires.
Just a natural athlete.
Yeah, he is.
From that perspective. So Ezekiel, Carlos Hyde, which is somebody that not a lot of people are talking about. I think you get a lot of value out of running backs. He's somebody that can do first and second down, and you could throw him the ball out of the backfield, although I don't think San Francisco used him in that manner a lot.
How do you like him?
I like him. I think if he could stay healthy, he gets dinged up a little bit, but he was out there and running the ball. I had him on my fantasy team.
A big back that can move a little bit.
Yeah, who can definitely move and take it to the house if necessary. And you get a lot of value out of the running backs. You don't have to pay him a lot of money, right? So you could pay him $5-6 million, give him a couple years on the deal, see where we go with that. But as far as the second tier people, well, I have a couple of other top tier too, but LeGarrette Blount is somebody I would go after, and I know there's probably going to be mixed messages about that.
Yeah,
thoughts
listen,
on him.
I respect LeGarrette Blount. I like the way he runs. I like his style. Mm-hmm. But what is he, like 31 now, or going to be 31?
He's 31, yeah.
And if it's no. I don't want him.
Well, I
don't want him.
Your opinion. I think he's somebody that's a bruiser, that's first and second down that you can throw in there. He's different from the backs that we currently have, like McGuire and Powell. So I think he would be a nice mix in there. And we don't have to think about everybody that we get on our team that's going to be on our team for the next 10 years. So somebody that could be on there for a year or two and get us to where we need to go. Look at what he did for Philly. He made the difference for them, I think, being in there until the other guy came on board. Anyway, offensive lineman.
He reminds me of Marion Butts. You guys remember Marion Butts?
Yeah.
Running back for the Chargers? I don't know. It just reminds me.
I think he's more agile than that guy.
He is.
Yeah.
He is.
Andrew Norwell, I don't know a lot about him, but he's gotten good reviews.
That's my number one guy, man.
The guard from the Panthers.
Yep, I'll talk to you about him afterwards.
Yep.
Yeah.
We won't go into detail. I'll let that be you. Center, Weston Richburg from the Giants. He's somebody that's got good reviews. And then cornerback, Malcolm Butler or Tremaine Johnson. And then, listen, we're probably going to cut.
Who's your 1 and your 1A in that cornerback? You said either or, but who's your 1 and 1A if you had to pick?
You know what? I'm concerned about paying too much for a cornerback, so I'd probably end up going Malcolm Butler instead because right now his value is depressed based on what happened in the Super Bowl. I would probably go
I don't know
him.
if it's depressed. I don't think it's depressed. I still think he's as highly rated as he was before.
I think when it all shakes out, he's going to get much less money than Tremaine Johnson. So that's kind of where I'm comparing the two.
I agree.
So and if I'm going to try to get value,
That's based on performance to me.
Somewhat, but I think one of the people that is a sleeper is Aaron Colvin. He's 26 years old. He's a slot cornerback on the Jags, and he's somebody that I'm looking at Pro Football Focus. Finished 6th in the league in terms of fewest yards allowed per snap in coverage. He allowed just 0.75 yards per his 449 snaps, and then allowing a reception in every 10 snaps. So we're going to give up on Buster Screen. I think that's somebody that's going to be a cap casualty. That's what I think. He hasn't really done much since he's been here, to be honest with you. So we need to replace that. I re-signed Claiborne. Buster Screen is out of here. And then you sign Colvin and then, the guy from the Patriots. And I think that rounds out your cornerback.
So Colvin is 26.
Yep.
Which is a good thing. He has had a torn ACL in college. And he has been suspended before.
In college or in the pros?
No, he got suspended in 2016.
Did he say for what?
It doesn't say for what, but it was a 4-game suspension. It was probably
PEDs or something.
Yeah.
PEDs.
But you know what? And again, we were talking about like inherent biases that we have with the old as opposed to the new. I don't know. He'd probably be an upgrade over Buster Screen, but we're kind of sick of Buster Screen, so we kind of are ready for Buster Screen to leave and then maybe try it with something else.
For obvious reasons.
The passing.
I mean, I haven't looked at
the holding. I mean, it feels like we're going to get off the field on 3rd down, and the dude is holding somebody all the time.
Well, don't you want your slot corner also if one of your number 1 or number 2 corners goes down, you want that guy to be able to go out and play corner.
Yes.
You're paying him a lot of money. He should be able to bump out and do a decent job.
You have confidence in Screen to be able to
No, that's the thing. It's like whenever we wanted Screen to do that. And the same thing with Kyle Williams before that.
I couldn't stand Kyle Williams.
but he could only play nickel.
Slot,
he couldn't play on the outside at all. He was susceptible.
Right. And that's what you're alluding to as far as Buster's concerned, right? Because I think he's a more than serviceable nickel corner, but I don't trust him out there, on the edges.
If he doesn't cost a lot of money, he's very serviceable.
Yeah.
But we paid a lot of money for him when we brought him here, though.
Right.
Cleveland, right?
Yeah. But even if we didn't have to pay a lot of money for him, if he were to be put on the outside, either way, I'm kind of worried. You know what I'm saying?
Because my problem with that is that when he's in the slot, it seems like that's when he's had the most problem with regard to the pass interference. So you put him out on an island, I think it becomes that difficulty becomes even more exaggerated. Yeah. I think we need to sever ties with him as far as that's concerned. I think we need to sign somebody else.
I think to what Brian was saying about Jarvis Landry too, the Jets would be well served to have another guy that takes the number 1 corner from the other team and locks him on him. All right, so if you have an Odell Beckham or a Jarvis Landry type, you're going to get Patrick Peterson on him if you're playing against the Cardinals.
Everybody else can eat.
So somebody like Robbie Anderson, and we forget that Anun was going to come back and play for the Jets this year.
Sure.
And he's a matchup issue.
Yeah.
And the better the matchup you can make on the second and the third guy, that's why a guy like Danny Amendola and Julian Edelman, that's where they make their money. Wes Welker before that is that you have a guy outside that takes the best cover guy.
Absolutely. Well, the only thing about that is that he plays inside a lot and he plays in the slot. So a lot of those cornerbacks that play on the outside don't come inside for somebody like Landry. So I don't think that's going to happen all the time.
But they do also put a premium on a lot of these slot corners. So at least they'd be putting like a high caliber guy on another high caliber guy and would kind of negate the opportunity to really scheme out on a particular offense.
Well, your safeties have to pay attention because you're talking about being over the middle, and then that'll take the attention away, and then coverage you got 1-on-1 on the outside, and hey man, let Robbie burn and see what happens. Right? So from that perspective, I think it's good.
Yeah.
So a lot of examples of scheme that was trying to get a running back matched up on a linebacker.
Yep.
Put him in motion to see what he's
and New England does that a lot where they go from empty to the one back motioning back. Yeah, so then
what they're doing.
They declare those matchups. You have to declare those matchups.
Yep.
And it's good if the more assets you have on offense that can make you have to man
Less
up.
predictable.
Yeah.
And vice versa. If we had a corner, I guess I'll go just because I'm
go ahead, man.
so much.
Go get some.
I
Kind of
think
we're already going.
yeah. Oh, I'm getting a lot of crap for talking a lot today. I'm going to shut up.
No, not at all. Not at all.
No, come on, man.
The,
Please, don't stop.
All right. The guy that I had, in no uncertain order as number one was Ryan Jensen, center for the Ravens last year, 16-game starter for the Ravens, 26 years old, upgrade over Wesley Johnson, who is also a free agent. So we don't have a center that's under contract. You look through the rest of the free agents, and you got a lot of guys that used to play for the Jets, like Ode Abushi and Matt Slauson. Those guys are all out there too. But this Ryan Jensen kid, it sounds as though the Ravens really want to lock him up, but he only played for $1.8 million last year.
Yeah.
So he's definitely going to get paid, and we have the money to pay him. So that would be a nice addition. I was looking at Justin Pugh too, but I read some comments from Justin Pugh that said he's only going somewhere that's a win now thing. I guess the Giants season last year was real bad for him.
Is Jensen a restricted free agent or unrestricted?
I have him as a straight up free agent from Roto-World.
Okay.
If I'm not
Isn't that like, I don't know. It's funny how you didn't even get to finish your statement, and you said that Justin Pugh said that he only wants to go somewhere that's a winner, because without saying it, we're basically saying that
we're not winners.
Well, listen.
No, I'm saying
we need to make no bones about it. I mean, that's the problem with this whole conversation, right? Because we have people here, do they want to come to the Jets? And I think that we need to start with the quarterback, which would be Cousins, first of all, and then the dominoes would start to fall. Because if you don't have a cornerback, a quarterback, they're not going to want to come here.
How's the team going to win if there's not winners on the team?
That's true. And and he, Pugh basically just said that right there, and I totally get it. But it's so funny that without even you finishing your statement, we all knew what you were talking about, and it's just like,
no, he's not going to come here then. All right, next.
The Jets, right?
Yeah,
I'm a Jets fan.
It's shots. It's shots fired. It's like Le'Veon Bell with the
later for him.
we don't even talk about him.
Yeah, we put him in the bathroom last week. Right? So,
I like Ziggy Ansah, just like Brian and probably everybody else. I like Malcolm Butler. I was not aware of the Colvin situation, and that is
neither
intriguing.
was I. That's a good call.
That would maybe nobody else is, and we're on it. So who knows? But yeah, I think that's without talking any quarterbacks, because we kind of talked about quarterbacks last week.
Yep. Yeah. If you don't mind, I'd like to hop in there. Yeah. All right. For me,
checks with everybody.
You're okay.
Okay. Bye. So for me, out of all the free agents that we have, my number one guy is Andrew Norwell, and he is starting offensive guard for the Carolina Panthers.
Yep.
And let me just do a little read up on him.
I think it was an all-pro.
I think he was. Yeah. Andrew Norwell is one of the top guards in the NFL. He has where'd it go? He has improved every single season in the league, and he's now dominant in every regard. Norwell should continue to get better, as he won't even turn 27 until October.
Did he write his own bio?
Funny. You know what I like about the fact that, and this is why I didn't pick like a left tackle or whatever.
Yeah.
Not even just because they're probably the talent isn't there as far as the level is concerned.
I would agree with that.
But also the amount of money we're going to have to kick out for that person at a guard or a center is less than we would do for a left tackle.
And then you can get super high, all-pro quality for kicking out less money.
We just got to draft one.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So
yeah,
go ahead.
yeah.
Got to draft Joe Thomas.
Yeah, you know that. So Andrew Norwell, that'll just help to solidify the interior of the line. We still need a center, as Kyle pointed out, and I agree with your center choice. Hopefully, we can lock maybe someone like that up, or at least draft a good one. Here's one that I happen to really love. All righty, I love this guy Trey Burton. Trey Burton is the tight end, the backup tight end for the Philadelphia Eagles that threw that touchdown pass to Nick Foles. And I love the way Philly has built their team. They're deep at just about every position. You look at Zach Ertz, all-pro type of guy. You look at Selleck, who is a really good tight end himself. And then when Trey Burton had to step in, if you watch the footage and his numbers, he performed exceedingly well as the backup tight end. He's athletic. He was a former quarterback, I believe, in college, and he's only 26 years old. And the kid can move. The kid can catch. And I want that out of my tight end position. And I also want them to sign ASJ, Austin Safarian Jenkins.
I was about to ask you, both of them?
Both of them, because Austin can also block. He's not as fast as this kid, but let's have dual threats, man, to work the seams, to work the interior. One that can block, one that can, that's versatile and is athletic. So it's like I really like this kid.
So if you do that, it's like you're giving up on Leggett, the one that you just drafted.
Well, he's a rookie. Like, stay being a rookie.
Well, now he's his second year, so you're expecting a little bit more out of him this year.
That's correct. But you know what? I haven't seen anything from him to be able to evaluate him. So I'm kind of playing it safe with him. Like, all right, take another one, grow, and people get hurt all the time in the NFL. Maybe you can get in by game 5, see what you got, and then we'll make him, we'll see what's up.
But if you're signing both of those guys as tight ends, as free agent tight ends, then what kind of a role is this guy going to have? You want to put those two guys on the field if you're signing Safarian Jenkins and Trey Burton.
I'll put it to you this way. If I had to make a choice, I would pick Trey Burton over Safarian Jenkins.
Absolutely. And that's where I would go as well.
Can he block, though, I guess is the question.
Who cares? Sign some linemen, man.
We talked about that before, too. But, Anua does a lot of the same type of stuff.
Right.
He does.
Right.
He's a tweener.
And he can come in the slot, at times.
Crash down on the...
crack down on the block.
And I just don't know how good of a blocker Trey Burton is, but I'm not going to, vote against him. I'm going to give him that chance. Like, all right, fine, you can block. But the kid's a heck of an athlete, and he can catch his butt off. So I'm rooting for him.
I know you're not going with number 3
He's only 26. This isn't in any – well, it is kind of in the order.
But the fact that he's even on your list. But go ahead.
I'm going to tell you why he's on my list. Gee whiz. All right. Hey, audience, everybody. He's calling me.
I'm calling
He's
you
calling
out.
me out because hold on a second.
I'm just saying.
He was always on his list.
DeMarcus Lawrence.
There's no way
Stop.
that Dallas is not going to lock that dude up.
Listen, fine. But listen, he's still a free agent.
Okay.
He's still a free agent. There are other free agents out here that might get locked up somewhere. I don't know. But I'm just saying,
He's the non-freest free agent that's on anybody's list. I'm just trying to tell you.
I get it.
But go ahead.
No, I get it. And listen.
The non-freest.
Listen, if
the
I
most
feel,
non-free.
Hold on. That's why he's at number 3,
Sugar-free.
B.
I wanted to say it that way.
No, that's funny. Give us free. So shouldn't have said that.
Oh, my gosh. We are going to get so many
no, but gee whiz. You know what I'm saying? So
right.
That's why I have him down at number 3. Okay. Because I know it's not realistic, but technically he is a free agent.
Okay.
So if he were available, he's going at the top of that list, baby.
Merry Christmas.
Get him, right? Yeah. I know. But
go ahead.
I'll move on. How about that?
No.
This guy, Trey Burton, had 37 catches in 2016.
You daggone right.
37 catches. That's
as a backup, right?
That's important to note there. I mean, that's a lot of catches for a tight end.
Like a
in
third
his,
stringer.
in his third year.
Because
Yeah.
Zach missed some time, and then when he came in there, he took advantage of his opportunity. So, he looked good when he was out there.
Safarian have, like 40?
He had 50 catches this year.
Yeah.
50?
But for only like 300-something yards. He wasn't really...
He had 50
wasn't stretching
catches
the
this
field.
year?
Yeah.
And a lot of them were
have 50.
towards the end zone. Too.
Savarian. Yeah.
I mean, that's a big improvement for us as far as tight ends.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, it's huge. I just wish he had more yards on that. I think he only had 320-something yards off of 50 catches. That's
It's 27 yards a catch.
For who?
For
ASJ or for Trey?
yards gained
For
for ASJ.
Wow.
Wait, how many?
No. 7.1 average.
Yeah.
What's it? Yards gained is like I guess, is that the yardage after the catch?
No, that's
No, I would say
yards per game.
That's
no,
yak.
it's yards.
It's yards
no,
per game.
It's
Yeah.
yards per game.
Yeah, which isn't that much. So
I was gonna say 50 does not divide into 357 and 27.
Yeah.
math teacher.
No, I'm so sick.
History.
I'm in the humanities, B.
Yo, I'm into humanities, B. My next one up is all right. So DeMarcus is my 3. My 3A is Ziggy Ansah for all the reasons that we've all stated. I like the guy. He's got a huge wingspan. He's athletic. He's a tall guy. He stuffs the run, rushes the passer well. I like Ziggy, and if he's available and if his back is all healed up, I want to scoop him up.
What was his exact back problem?
His Ziggy. Yeah, there we go.
Ziggy's. You got me there.
I don't know. Listen,
Back
NFL
problems
Spasms?
are chronic.
they call them spasms.
If it's spasms, then that's not a big deal.
But that's the NFL labeling them spasms. So
Bill Belichick could just say, "We can't disclose."
yeah, true. And then Detroit's throwing something else on it. So I don't know what's up with them over there.
Well, they got Bill Belichick Jr. now, so
True.
no,
Patricia.
I give Patricia more credit than that. He's more than Bill Belichick.
No,
Jr.
he's pure.
That's Josh McDaniels.
And then my
I like
last
the
one
number
here.
4. I like the number 4.
For me personally, I want Malcolm Butler. I think he's a very good cornerback. I don't think he's great, but I really want to stick it to the Patriots. I want to see them eat some crow. I want to snatch this guy up, somebody that they quote unquote fronted on in the Super Bowl. And then listen, I don't know what the backstory is with why he didn't play. Maybe he did something, but he's denying it. So there's no verified proof of anything at this point anyway. But if his character checks out, I want this guy. I want him, and I want them to re-sign Morris Claiborne.
Sure.
I want them to re-sign ASJ. But we just spoke about the situation. If we had to pick between Trey Burton and ASJ, I'm picking Trey. And I also want Demario Davis. I want him coming back.
Sure.
He became the identity of our Jets defense, and let's continue that on. And let's put your arm around Darren Lee and keep coaching him up and have him play more like you, and we'll have a great tandem. And let's go Jets. How about that?
Yeah, I think my philosophy has always been if we're going to draft, if we're going to sign Cousins, then what we need to do is draft players in the first and second round that are on the offensive side of the ball. And that said, I want them to draft linemen. The first. If we can sign Cousins, then I would consider trading out of that number 6 so that we can load up on some offensive linemen in the first round.
But
And
you
in the
gotta-
second round, get a stud running back.
So we have Seattle's second round pick as well as
Yeah,
ours
so we have
too.
two second round picks. So my thing is we can parlay that number 6 into maybe 2 first round picks and maybe a third, second, then and then maybe some future picks.
Now hold on. The group chat that we have has been consistent from all 4 of us talking about getting Baker Mayfield, whether we signed a Cousins or we didn't.
I said if we sign Cousins, then it made no sense to sign Baker Mayfield.
Brandon,
to
you
pull
have
in
said
Baker
to
Mayfield.
do both.
Yeah, and I still stand by it.
I do too.
Yeah, so I mean that offensive lineman, and when you're saying trade back, where are you saying trade back to?
Like depending upon who wants that
Low
number
teens,
6, it
low
could be
teens, or early 20s. Is that what you mean?
yeah,
Okay,
Yeah.
because
yeah.
Wait,
I
say
hate
that
doing that
again?
in the first round.
Wait.
But that's me. Go ahead.
Like trade back from 6 to
Trade
in the
down
20s.
and
Yeah,
get 2 picks instead of having the 1 at 6.
Right.
Trade down.
if we get Cousins, you're saying.
Right, if we get
Copy
Cousins,
that.
and that's an if. That's a big if. If not, I say we stay at 6, and again, maybe pick up Baker Mayfield. But that's beside the point. I just wanted to make that point to say how that changes how I would approach free agency. So in terms of order of importance, would be again quarterback, outside linebacker, pass rusher, defensive back, left tackle, or offensive lineman, and then wide receiver
that's for the draft or for free agency.
for free agency.
So
if
wide
we've addressed
receiver was the last thing you said.
right. So if we've addressed quarterback already, and we're going to, and again with regard to what I'm saying, if we're going to address the offensive lineman in the first round and or beginning of the second, and then maybe pick up a running back in the end in the second round as well, then I need to then I would be focusing on pass rusher, and I'd be focusing on defensive back. So with regard to pass rusher, I'm right there with you with regard to Lawrence, but again, Lawrence is not going to be.
Yeah, I know it's
so
I'm
with you on Ziggy.
Yeah,
I'm with you on Ziggy. And I'm with you, and I say maybe even bring back Ely, Coney.
Yeah,
I think
good
we all
call.
like
Good
he's only 26.
Right.
I love it.
At the same time, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not sure how much Ely is going to cost us, but
Probably not much.
I don't think it's gonna cost that much.
We got him for nothing, didn't we? We got to sign him as
Bag of donuts.
Yeah.
Yeah. Off of waivers.
So my thing is this. So if Baker Mayfield's not there and Josh Allen is,
Hold on. If Baker Mayfield's not there, Josh Allen is, and we got Cousins in free agency? Or?
Yes.
Okay.
because that's already an assumption with me, right? So just because that's my plan, not because it's gonna happen.
Come on, Teddy Bridgewater.
Right.
Come on, Teddy.
Josh Rosen is gone, and the top guys are gone, but Josh Allen is sitting there. I'm either trading down, like he mentioned, or I pick up Notre Dame's guard.
and that's what I was going to address.
Yeah, and
that's what I'm
with you
saying.
there with Quentin Nelson,
Yeah.
who I think that's a value position at that point
Right.
as a guard. We slot him in there with one of the free agent pickups,
Andrew
as well,
Norwell.
and then we try to build out from there, and then it'll make the tackles better because the solid middle with the acquisitions that we have in free agency.
And again, you got to protect that asset. If you're going to have Cousins sitting there, behind your offensive line, then you better shore up your offensive line with quality that's going to be there on a long-term basis, as long as he is going to be there, or as long as you project him to be there. So going forward, with regard to the defensive backs, I really want Malcolm Butler. I think he has a chip on his shoulder, the size of Mount Rushmore, and I feel like he is in the position to stick it to whoever doubted him. Specifically, that New England team.
Yeah.
If you keep him in the division, then I feel like every game is he's going to be a problem.
And that's a strategy
Right.
that New England utilizes. It's taking players away from folks that are in the division. So not only does it strengthen you, but it weakens the other team.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
they did it. Look what they did with Revis, and he got a ring.
And like you said, bring back the players that have worked for us. Claiborne, bring back Demario Davis.
Yes.
I mentioned Coney Ely.
Good call.
As far as the wide receivers are concerned, I would like us to sign Allen Robinson from the Jaguars. He's coming off an injury. I understand that, but I think he would be a legitimate one.
Yeah.
That we could pair with Anunwa. That we could pair with our hopefully it'll be knocked down to a misdemeanor.
He's got charges.
Knocked down to 6 misdemeanors.
You got charges, son.
Right.
Yeah, he's got charges.
Where is Curse on the depth chart if you bring in a free agent number one and everybody on the team is healthy? Is he the fourth?
He's probably a fourth option, but he's
Sure.
if we bring in Allen Robinson and then we have Curse and Anunwa and Anderson, then Curse is a 4 receiver.
I watched the.
He's a 4, but that's a great 4.
It's a great 4.
That's depth
The
that
reason-
we haven't had.
The reason I say it is because watching Kirk Cousins, then the NFL Network's playing like the top 10 games of the season. Kirk Cousins had nobody to throw to.
Right.
And he was still throwing for 340 a game.
Yep.
And to Jamison Crowder and
He threw to that running back a lot though too. What's his name? Gee whiz, I had him in fantasy too.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Had a great season before he got hurt.
Yeah, he did.
And the other thing that's notable is that if we bring in Cousins, remember how much more money are we going to have in free agency? So the free agents that I mentioned aren't going to be as expensive as some of the others. Answer, I give you. Okay. But Malcolm Butler isn't going to be as expensive.
Cornerbacks are expensive, man. So they're
general.
So I'm with you.
But that's an expense that I'm gonna spend on my corner, right? In the defense that we
15
have,
million,
in the defense
14
that,
million a
in the
year?
defense that we have, I don't know if it's going to be 14 million. I hope it's not going to be 14.
I think it is going to be that because I think Tremaine is looking at 17 million. So
but what did we have to pay Revis? the last time we brought him back.
16, remember?
Yeah,
and that was back then.
That's a while ago. The market's
I
different.
think you probably get him for 12.
Butler for 12?
I think you get him for 12.
I would take him.
Long-term front-loaded.
I
That's
would
the thing,
take
too, with Cousins is we can front-load more so than anyone else can.
So my thing is, my point is that we're going to be able to 2, maybe 3 top end free agents.
Mm-hmm.
And if you spend the top 2 money free agents on the outside linebacker and the corner, then the problem is that how are you going to sign that third, which is the receiver in terms of order of importance. So
Or you're going to draft one.
Right. The problem is that we haven't had success with drafting wide receivers.
At all.
We haven't had any success.
Devin Smith.
So we've had success in drafting offensive linemen. Okay, we've had success.
Well, not recently.
No, no. You're right. Absolutely.
We
Not
drafted
recently,
Robbie
not
Anderson.
recently.
Right.
But more so, I
we
think
decided to
because
pick high.
they were lower. They were
So-
lower end. Lower draft round
Yeah.
picks.
So let's say that-
So my point is,
Go ahead.
we have better success in the higher rounds with regard to offensive linemen.
No, I hear exactly what you're saying, and you know what? I agree with you too. I agree with you because I think it's always more of a dice roll the lower rounds you go.
Right.
But for us, okay, we're picking receivers in the first 2 rounds or 2-3 rounds, and we're still striking out.
No, we're not. We had all our receivers has been like
Later
fifth round and
rounds.
Later. So
Right.
it's
Devin Smith isn't that great.
That was a second.
And
That was
then
second.
and then I don't like our 3rd round pick that we had last year from Alabama. He's not.
Octavius Stewart?
He's not really hitting on anything.
I think the point is, and we've mentioned this in prior episodes or whatever, that we can't draft period in general. So
Yeah, you're right.
So really we struggle at that, and if we were and we had confidence in it, then we wouldn't be looking at the free agents that we're looking at right now, because we would think, hey, we're going to draft a good guy in the 1st, and 2nd, and 3rd round. We'll get lucky with a couple in the later rounds or whatever else, because our history shows that, and we have no confidence in any of that happening. So we need to pick up some key free agents based on the regime that we're currently in. So that's tough. It's a tough place to be in right now that we're even having this conversation about free agents, because Green Bay doesn't look at free agents like that. They pick up like 1 a year because they know that they can draft well. And so, but unfortunately, that's not us.
And to also to the points that were being made earlier, we're going to have to overpay for free agents. We are going to. That's just what it is because of the organization, because of how the organization is viewed. We're going to have to overpay for free agents.
Fine, just overpay for good players then.
Right.
And
Right.
set like a limit. Don't just just spend, like set a limit. Okay, and just reconcile within yourselves. Okay, fine. We're gonna have to overpay for if we get a QB, and we know that if it's gonna be Cousins, who I don't particularly want, but I think he's a good quarterback. All right, we know that we're gonna overpay for this guy. Fine.
So
this guy Andrew Norwell, we're gonna overpay for him. Fine.
But my point is, when we talk about Ziggy,
Yeah.
right, we're going to have to pay him as the top 1 or 2 pass rusher in free agency.
Available,
right?
Yeah.
Yes or no?
Yes.
This is where it gets dangerous, and this is where I would rather let somebody like that go and
sign who?
overpay a guard who, as guards get paid a lot less money. So if you're going to overpay by 20% on a guard who gets paid annually $6 million, and I'm just throwing the number
Yes,
out there,
I know what you mean.
I'd rather overpay for somebody who gets paid less overall than to overpay Malcolm Butler, who gets paid $12 million,
Or
an
Ziggy,
outside pass
who
rusher
would
that gets
increase our
paid
cap hit.
15,
Yeah.
because all of that gets sucked up early, and then next thing you know, you don't have anything left.
But that's my point. That's why you get, again, like I always say, cheap labor. That's why you sign a stud guard in the 1st round that you have control over.
Draft or sign?
Excuse me, draft a guard in the 1st round that you're going to have control over. If we sign Cousins, right? That way you take that off the table, take that guard off the table, and then you can focus on the free agent that's going to have more of an impact
The thing that I think
on your team.
The thing I think that you're messing up is that free agency comes first.
Well,
Before
again,
the draft, so all of this stuff needs to happen before the draft.
Yeah.
And then after that, then
Yeah.
you figure out, all right, who am I going to draft after I've plugged whatever holes in free agency?
You're almost going to have to sign a free agent in all these categories you're talking about. It's just the level of commitment that you're going to make to that free agent, whether money-wise. You might draft and sign in the same position, but are you drafting late in the position and signing the free agent with big money, or vice versa? Like what is Mike McCagney going to put priorities on? when it comes to this stuff. And we've talked about we're not really that confident in his ability to draft a quarterback.
Because I would even say we do draft. We do sign Cousins, and in free agency, and then we do sign onto in free agency as soon as it opens on the 14th of March, and then say, okay, well at 6, we're going to sign it. We're going to draft a guard. I'll draft a guard at 6.
I think the plus that we have here, cap wise, is that we can also cut people too. I mean, we're forgetting we got Winters and Carpenter under contract, so we can cut them depending on the dead money and still make up the difference that we would pay them extra in the fact that we would actually gain some cap space by cutting them. So that's a piece of the puzzle that really we haven't factored in, because we can cut both of those guards and maybe get $4 or $5 million back to the cap because we cut them.
Do you sign Cousins and then draft Minka Fitzpatrick, and then your corner situation?
No, I want somebody on the offensive line.
No, but I'm saying that solves your problem for a long time. That's again.
That's if Minka's going to play corner. You think Minka's going to play corner?
I think Minka can play anything in that
he can, but I think his strong position is probably at the free safety.
So
slot corner too.
I don't know.
Really
that's a lot of draft capital for a slot corner. Yeah,
right.
It is. And I'm with you. I
love him.
Yeah. But I can hear what you're saying about the Jamal Adams.
You put the 3 of them in your backfield, your defensive backfield.
I mean, listen, it would be awesome. Yeah. I just with everything else we need.
I sent that article out on the last one. It's so good. And you are the Players Tribune guy. You know about that article that he wrote last week.
I want to put him in there.
Make you want him on your team.
Mm-hmm. Everything you sent me is I love this guy already. I want him on my squad.
It's like you going to Toys R Us. You got to pick one toy, man. Right. I want them all. You just can't.
If I was Cleveland,
you got to leave something behind.
I love his character too, man.
I agree.
I'm Cleveland with a 1 and a 4. Yeah. He's already on my team. Right. You know what I mean?
QB. I'm gonna get into that with the tweak me.
Yeah. That's a good segue. I think we've really fleshed this out. We've unpacked it all, and I think we've got some good viewpoints. And
Kyle Fuller too, cornerback for. He played for.
Kyle Fuller,
Chicago. The Bears.
Okay.
Yes, that's all the
another one, right? Yeah, he just started getting good this year, but I got you.
On the other side of Claiborne.
Yes,
there you go.
Yes, good point. All right, guys, we're going to move on to our next segment. It is called Tweak Me. All righty, things that tweak me and things that pique me. All righty. We're going to talk about things that kind of get us up and fired up, and things that get us down or tweak us out that we're really not happy with about just sports, the Jets, whatever. All right, guys? So who wants to take the baton and run with this one?
Kerry, you want to start it? You haven't started one yet.
I really didn't have a big peek me, tweak me because the season is over. I think I'll tell you what, I have a peek me and tweak me. I will have a peek me if they sign Cousins. And if
he's heating up
in free agency, and if they draft offensive players in the first and second rounds, that will pique me.
Good.
That will pique me. It will tweak me if they do not. I will say that. And if they again, unless if they draft somebody like a Fitzpatrick. Minka Fitzpatrick. If they draft him, then I can't be mad at them. It's like a sibling who pisses you off, or who upsets you about something. You're like, I love you, damn it, I love you, but you make me mad. Oh, you make me mad, but I can't be mad at your decision.
That's basically my love-hate relationship with these Jets.
Right?
Yeah, right. Doesn't it feel like a little love thing, right? Yeah, right. I told you, It gets you right all up in here.
Right.
Yeah.
You feel verklempt.
Yes, you definitely get verklempt. Right. Yeah. Kyle looks like he's dying to go. Check him out.
Chomping at the bit.
My peak me is Jordan Jenkins. And I was watching, I had actually DVR'd a Jets fight plan from a long time ago because I wanted to go back and watch it again. And I watched it before we came in today. It was Kevin Green talking about the development of Jordan Jenkins. If you look at him, he has 5 sacks on his career, but he had 3 last year playing that outside linebacker position. And I think that this guy's upside is very huge, and this might be the next guy to kind of turn the corner in 2018. We have him locked into a 4-year contract. We signed him in May of 2016, so that means we have at least 2 years left on that contract before we have to, come out and pay him more money. But 6'3", 257-pound guy that Kevin Green really likes,
Mo Lewis style,
and feels like he can develop him, and that he's just getting better and better as every game goes on. So my tweak me is the Cleveland Browns, and I hate the fact that the Cleveland Browns really are in the driver's seat of controlling everything that we do, free agent wise or draft wise. And there's so many things. I don't know if you guys saw the Bleacher Report thing about all the different scenarios that Cleveland has and how they affect everybody else. And there's like 10 different scenarios they can go with. And I hate the fact that we have to kind of wait and see what they do in order to kind of calculate what we can do.
So I think the only thing that isn't really impacted would be the Kirk Cousins situation, because he's not going there. So as much as they would say that they would like to have him and that is impacting us, it's really not, because he's not going to Cleveland. I would be totally shocked if that happens. Totally shocked.
Well, the Jets could give him more money on the front end than Cleveland can, according to what I read.
But I wouldn't.
No, but
if I'm in competition, if I'm the Jets and I'm in competition with Cleveland, I'm not paying him more than Cleveland's paying him.
Well, either way, I'm saying the possibility is there.
Mm-hmm.
So he could. We talked about this not bidding against ourselves,
right? And
stuff.
that's it.
But Denver is also right there, looking at the whole Cousins situation.
The Vikings are out there too.
I'm not really, but I just don't like the fact that Cleveland. I have to wait and watch what Cleveland does to figure out what the Jets are going to do as far as a lot of these moves, and it just stinks.
I think our greater competition is Denver for Cousins. Actually,
So you think that they're giving up on Paxton Lynch like already? They're done with him.
They want to win now, and I don't think anybody that they have in their locker room right now, they feel that they can go to war with and win. So yeah, I do think that they are the number one competition. And I saw an article somewhere where the Jets were considering, and I don't know, if that's really considering or whatever, but a fully guaranteed contract in order to make the difference between,
I saw that.
Denver signing him and us signing him.
I'm against it.
So normally I would have to see what the parameters are. If you're getting fully guaranteed, you're not getting as much per year as what you would normally get out there on the street.
It's like paying cash.
Yeah, it's like it's definitely paying cash. And there were some pros and some cons in the article that I read on both sides. And one of them was that quarterbacks rarely get injured like that, where they would be life-threatening injuries or whatever. Well, not life-threatening, career-threatening injuries.
Yeah.
And again, his trajectory is kind of continuing to go up. But again, that's kind of where I'm at with that. I don't think I would do it either, but I would have to see where they land with it.
Yeah. See more numbers and see what their intent is.
So I guess I'm up. Peek me, tweak me?
Sure, yeah.
Sure. So listen, I didn't really, to be honest, I only had to tweak me coming in here because I had something that was really kind of burning. But I'm going to talk about my peek me first, because then all of a sudden Kyle brought my peek me, which was Marcus Peters potentially being on a trading block.
Wow. So
that really piques my interest. Depending on what they would want to bring that troubled cornerback here.
What's his value?
What's his his contract? What does that look like? I really haven't researched that, so I don't know what the number.
I'm sure it's a lot less than a free agent.
Yeah. We'll talk about
right.
So man, I mean, can we start with what Brandon Marshall brought here, which was like a 4? Can we?
There's a 3 and a 4.
He's going to be more than that.
Way more.
I would say a conditional 3. I'd go up to a 2nd if. Look, he's 25 years old. He's a cornerback that had 8, 6,
For how
and
long
5
is he under
picks.
Control?
I don't know. We really have to see. Again, this is new.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It's
so
burning the
this
wire.
is
I
this
haven't
morning,
really
yeah.
researched all.
I'm just saying,
parameters around
if I don't think anything less than a 2,
it would get a deal done.
Yeah.
Didn't we get a 2 from Sheldon Richardson?
That was my point of reference right there. So if we're gonna get that for Sheldon, I don't think that they're probably gonna ask for one of our 2s to get this guy.
Right, and Sheldon Richardson is a free agent this year, so he wasn't even under control for more than a year after that.
But I would do it.
I would do it. I mean, you got
I'd
for
give up a 2.
the second rounder. I wouldn't give up a 1. So if it's a second round, there's no conditions involved in it. It's just a second round pick next year, whatever. I'd take a shot on a 25-year-old cornerback that's potentially a shutdown who's had, you're talking about 19 interceptions in the last 3 years.
These are the risks that we're going to have to take as the team we are.
Absolutely. And what does that do for you, depending on what the contract pays? And I don't know if you can pull that up while we're kind of running that. But if we could pull up what the contract pays and how long he has left on it, it could be pretty reasonable. Think about filling that in without
what else we can use
Butler,
that
so
money on.
So then that drops it down. We can use the money for more people to sign. Landry's in play at that point. Yeah. That's not happening. Come on. That's my peak me, and then Kyle's gonna help me out and try to pull up that Marcus Peters thing on Roto-World. Now, my tweak me. Why are we associated with AJ McCarron? Right?
Because we're going to be associated with any free agent quarterback.
Second tier Jets.
Get it, but it's just
mentality.
I don't even want that to be part of the conversation for them to even consider it or even get into their mind the fabric of who they are to want to go after somebody like AJ McCarron.
Let the Browns have him.
But I don't think the Jets. I don't think it's saying that the Jets are tossing that around. It's just the interested parties.
But just the fact that we are that bad in quarterback deprived that we are in a conversation with AJ McCarron tweaks me.
Can't you totally
we
see?
are. You just said it. You just said it.
No, I understand why. I totally get why. But it just and go ahead, Brandon.
I was just saying, can't you see the ticker tape coming up? The Jets just get AJ McCarron, and it's be like it figures.
Right. That's
and what number does he wear?
I don't even want to think. I don't care.
Really?
18 or something.
like 19.
It's like, come on, you got to be kidding me.
It's like that number doesn't give me enough life.
Marcus Peters is a $1.3 million cap hit.
Get him
exactly.
I mean, how many years left in the deal?
It might be his last year.
Doesn't say.
It might be his last year.
He's on his rookie deal.
Right, so this is his last year.
He's a 2015 draft pick. So this is the third year.
His fourth year coming up. Because he played 15, played 16, played 17, and year from number 4 is coming
up. This is his last year rookie deal.
So this might isn't it 3 with an option?
I thought it was 4. If it's a first rounder, isn't it 4 with an option? And he was a first rounder, right?
It is a first rounder. 4 with an option.
Woo! Come on, baby.
Yeah, and two Pro Bowls.
They're going to want to laugh for that.
2 Pro Bowls, 1 All Pro.
19 interceptions.
I'm not giving up a first round pick. And I'll end with this.
Got to get his wig together.
So free agency tampering opportunity starts on March the 12th. By the way.
Okay.
You don't.
I thought it was 14th.
You can't give him a first round because he has baggage.
Right.
The baggage takes the first round
to
value
a third. It takes that to a third.
To a
me,
second or a late
or
second.
late second.
I would give him that second Sheldon pick.
I would not.
The second round?
No.
Because we have 2 second rounders. I'd give him the
cheap
second
starting corner though.
If I can get away with it giving to him my next year's second rounder, I'd do that.
Only if we can trade back out of that 6 and get more picks.
Kerry wants
That's
picks.
what I'm saying. That's all I want.
Yeah,
you know me. I'm what the man says, son. I have confidence in my ability to draft. Not the Jeffs.
You're not drafting.
Better go sit next to McCagg.
Trade for Marcus Peters. Draft Mika Fitzpatrick, and then put Claiborne as your slot corner.
Yeah. I need a guard.
He can't play slot.
I was just kidding.
Give me that Notre Dame kid.
So moving on, guys. So Kerry, you want it next? Tweak me, peek me.
I already have.
No,
it.
you already
started it
Oh, so we just went through it. So it's on me now.
Yeah. It's on you.
I'm batting cleanup. I didn't even realize that. Alrighty. So guys, for the I'm gonna go with the tweak me. It's pretty generic. The thing that tweaks me the most as we're in almost in free agency land. We're basically in the off season. It's all this time that I have to basically think about how the Jets could mess this up. How they could mess up free agency, how they could mess up this draft. And it's a poor mindset to have, but it's like I'm just so used to just not winning when it comes to this. And I'm just kind of expecting the worst until they prove me wrong. So my mental is already set in a not so great a place because I'm expecting McCagnon to not necessarily do that great of a job. I'm expecting him to throw out all the money on Kirk Cousins, who I don't really want on my team anyway. I have a different philosophy on how to enter the 2018 season, but I get it. If we go after Cousins, I get it.
He hasn't done poorly in free agency. I don't think he's done that poorly in free agency.
There's like nobody from the 2015 team that's
Free agency class
that's on our team. So he's not that great.
In 2015, you said?
Yeah, that's like Fitzpatrick. That's Brandon Marshall. That's Decker. That's like he gutted the whole team.
Right.
That he got.
They all stayed like 1 year.
Yeah,
and that's it.
You know, so he got him and then gave up on him.
Too.
And I'm not just talking about free agency. I'm talking about the draft.
The draft. There's no.
Yeah, it's just everything.
No
So
redeeming
basically,
qualities about the draft.
I'm basically set in a negative space in my head in regards to what to expect from the Jets, and I should be thinking, all right, these guys have a great opportunity, and I'm just expecting the worst. And I feel like what's out there, we have some good things out there that we could potentially acquire. I just don't have the trust that it's going to happen. So that's what's tweaking me about this whole thing. I don't have the faith in our team, you know, as far as their front office. Now, speaking of faith, the things that pique me is the Philadelphia Eagles, you know, the other green team. And I don't know if you guys know about this. You know, I'm kind of a corny, you know, guy, you know, faithful guy.
Sure.
But I love the fact that a whole bunch of their players like Foles and Wentz and Trey Burton and Zach Ertz and one of the linebackers, I forget his name, and also one of the receivers that used to be on the team, who's no longer on the team. I forget his name. But, like, they all got together in a hotel pool and baptized another player. And I just thought that was awesome. And I'm like, man, this team has been put together so well. Their locker room is so awesome. And I wonder if that has anything to do with their chemistry as well. And, you know, I'm hoping that the Jets can bring over some of that over to the team. Trey Burton as well was part of that whole thing. And, you know, I just love the fact that, like, you know, these guys were like brothers in arms and also brothers in faith and, like, lean on one another for that, you know, just for that fraternal love, you know, through their faith. So I just thought that was awesome. I know it's a little corny, but I still love it.
They were really good at, like, the way that they vocalized dealing with adversity.
Yeah.
Like the Nick Foles failure video from the press conference.
Yeah.
That's something that's been floating around a lot lately, and it's you know, they talk in education, they talk a lot about the growth mindset versus the fixed mindset.
Yeah.
And the growth mindset is all about your failures are building blocks to your success.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah.
And with the positive coaching alliance and the way that a lot of coaches go about youth coaching and things like that, that growth mindset is big, and he did a lot as a backup quarterback coming in, not, you know, woe is me.
Yeah.
And then everybody rallying around him. Doug Peterson did a lot with that.
A lot of that.
You know,
and all of those people that you just mentioned, including Doug Peterson, reference God as being their source of strength through this whole season, just through their whole football experience, which I just really, really respect. So I just wanted to put that out there. So, you know, I think that just from me being just a man in general, that really piques me. So I like it and I appreciate it. But you know, I'm not gonna root for you, Philly. I'm still a Jets fan, but like I respect what you're doing. You know,
secondary Philly affiliation.
Yes. Like, you know, it's right.
It is
there.
close by. So, I have a guy that I work with. His son is Howie Roseman, the guy that built that, you know, the general manager, Steve Roseman. And so I've been hearing about the tribes and tribulations of that. That guy went through a lot of stuff too. You know, kind of lost his job.
Roseman,
and
with
then
Chip Kelly
got it back.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to cut you off though, Brian. I thought you say something.
Oh, no, just Marcus Peters. There's a club option for 2019.
Okay.
Yeah, so you'd have him for 2 years.
And then,
But he's also, we just looked it up, 2-time Pro Bowler, 1-time All-Pro, and Defensive Rookie of the Year. So he's got a good resume. He also tried to get himself ejected from a game, threw a penalty flag into the crowd, then took off all his uniform and acted like he was ejected when he wasn't ejected.
Let's go get him right now. Yeah.
Him and Robbie Anderson on
the same team, on the opposite sides of the ball, going up against each other.
Forget about it.
Oh my gosh.
Let's do it.
But I like the way they play. I like the way they play.
Yeah, definitely.
I just don't like the stuff they do off the field.
Yeah, you got to check yourself with that stuff, bro.
Before you what? I just
mean-
went old school with that.
So you wreck yourself.
Marcus Peters was doing it on the field.
Yeah.
So
All right, guys. Thanks everybody for joining us for this week's edition of the BKBK podcast. Thanks again for all the views. So keep watching. We want to be able to keep bringing you the latest news and viewpoints of where sports and the culture collide and the New York Jets reign supreme. You can find us on Facebook on your BKBK podcast fan page, as well as on YouTube. Just type in BKBK podcast, hit the like and the subscribe button to show the love. I also want to say thanks to our sponsor, Summit 68, for housing and filming BKBK podcast.
Summit 68.
Right.
You can go to summit68.com for all of your professional and private studio needs. That's it. Let's go BKBK. Let's go Baldwin Bruins. And let's go Jets.
Let's go.
Call it a wrap.